before I brought you on, Dusty, I've always, every time we've talked on the phone, I've always wanted to talk to you about promos because every now and then someone will, make up a promo list. Oh, who the best talkers were. Well, you're always on everybody's list, and if you're not on someone's list, then they don't know their ass from a hole in the ground about promos. I played the Hard Times promo in my opening segment, and you've got so many memorable promos throughout your career. Let's spend a little bit of time specifically talking about that. What was your approach to creating your promo style? I mean, your cadence, your rhythm, the way you talk. I mean, you're born with a little bit of a lisp, right, Dust?
And a lot of lisp. Yeah, handicapped or whatever.
But I know, but that worked for you because, I mean, the way you put your words together, I mean, it drew me in. You're a little bit older than me. You're the generation ahead of me, so I grew up watching you and just listening to you talk and the emotions. It was like, man, of course, I just loved what you stood for. You were the working man. All these years later, I do this podcast for the working man, but I was drawn to what you were saying because I knew that you were feeling what you were saying. But so many times, and I watch, your stuff, in the Carolinas with the Crockett's, and then, when you went to Vince, a lot of those ringside promos and the stuff you were spitting out was just pure audio gold. And it just say, hey man, if I had the money and I was right there, I'm buying a ticket to see this cat wrestle. Were you always a gifted talker?
I think I was gifted and being able to have a vision of what I wanted to say spontaneously. Not in let's go. It's like when you have done your movie work and all the stuff that you've done. Your hand is script. And I teach my kids now at developmental at WCW. I teach them in the acting class that I teach that's fine and dandy. But no matter what you're handed, it still has to come out of your mouth, has to be you. Growing up in the Sunday in the Black Baptist church that we went to over in Bastrop, Texas, with my dad when he would go over there every Sunday and visit T.C. Lou, who worked plumbing with him. And I would sneak over to that church just like you read about in the movies, and I would hear them sing. And I'd hear the gospel, and I'd hear him talk. And I grew up in that neighborhood where, dominantly black neighborhood and Latino neighborhood. So I finally realized this. It was not like a repetition that came all over my head or whatever they call it, that I got this thing from outer space somewhere, is that the wrestling part was cool. The story in the ring is cool because you got a blank canvas. You got an opportunity with a blank canvas when you walk out there and you'll paint in 20 minutes or an hour, however long you go, you're painting your own portrait. They'll either buy it or they won't. But I understood at an early age that I'm going to see you Friday night and kick your ass in Orlando, Kevin Sullivan, and I'm going to beat you up, and that's at 8 o'clock, and don't forget to buy your tickets at Walmart. Well, that's fine and dandy, man, but the common man don't want to hear that, man. They wanted to hear what I had to say about current events blended in with the way I told it and the way I told the story. And they knew I was going to be in Orlando. I didn't have to tell them I was going to be in Orlando. I didn't have to tell them that I was going to be wrestling Kevin Sullivan or whoever it was, or the Korean Assassin. So I took that opportunity to them to spontaneous relate to them how I was feeling on that moment, that morning, that day. And with the Hard Times promo, it was very simple. I was sitting in the control room. J.J. Dillon was my assistant at the time. He was sitting down below me. And I was sitting in the control room doing the show, booking the show, also starring in the program, also starring in TBS 605 for so many years. And he said, okay, you're up. Just like that. JJ turned around and said, yup, Dream. I took the headsets off. I walked out to the set. As I walked through the curtain, I knew that was a point in time where our country was in hard times. But not one thought did I give to this interview until it came out of my mouth. Not one thought till that interview came out of my mouth and became as famous as Gone with the Fucking Wind.
But you just, I never really, I've seen, countless of your promos. When I was watching back in the day, on the Superstation, back in the heyday, or just pulling something up on YouTube, I just never seen a flub, a tick, a hitch. You just always seem to flow.
Yeah.
All of those were just ad-lib spontaneous, or did you ever?
No, they wasn't, Stephen, they was, as you know yourself, because you created a character that there's not anything like it in your era. So we say in the 70s were the Rhodes era, and then they went to the Hulkamania area, and then they went to the Austin area, and now they go to the Cena area. I left out a lot of people in between there. I left out rock, I left a lot of people, but that were the areas that dominates our landscape of our business. There's no other eras. They were the king of them eras. I mean, as you went through the different eras, that's how it flowed. We talk about Superstar, talk about Ric Flair, but really that was the power of them different areas that I just named. So with that being said, you also had that opportunity to pretty much go out there once they turn you loose and you got in your mind, this is what I'm going to do whether they like it or not. And it becomes real. So the audience believes that it's real. They believe what they were saying. And I wanted them to think one thing. If you were an attorney, you could sit down and eat with me in a fancy restaurant. If you were a black person, you could sit and invite me over and I would eat in your living room. If you were white, I would do this in your living room. I would play with your kids. I was a cowboy. So I tried to encompass one thing, and Steve, always remember this, and I try to teach this too, is if I'm selling, I want them all selling in the audience. If I'm coming back, I want them all coming back. If I'm bleeding, I want them bleeding. If I win, they win. If I lose, they lose. Once you encompass that whole concept of our industry, that's when you become a power broker. And power broker I did, like it or not, with all the knocks or whatever and all the great things that happened. I'm very blessed. Power broker I was. You're a power broker. She's a power broker. You know what I mean? And Hogan was a power broker at the time. There were four. They were power brokers. That's not saying I'm better than Ric Flair or anything, or better than Steve Austin. I'm just saying doing it in 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000.